Self-love isn't a destination, it's a journey. And with each step, you will grow stronger, more compassionate, and more at peace with who you are. You are worthy of all the love you give to others. Let it start with you. Embracing yourself completely means recognizing and accepting every part of who you are, your strengths, your flaws, your past, and your future. It's about making peace with the entirety of your being, allowing yourself to feel whole and worthy just as you are. Too often we fall into the trap of trying to conform to external expectations, shaping ourselves to fit an ideal that isn't truly ours. We compare ourselves to others, feeling inadequate because we don't measure up to some societal standard. But the truth is, no one else in the world has your unique combination of experiences, thoughts, and gifts. You are a one-of-a-kind creation, and it's time to embrace that fully. Embracing yourself completely starts with self-awareness. It requires taking an honest look at who you are without judgment. Sometimes we shy away from this deep self-reflection because we fear what we'll find. We worry that we're not good enough or that our flaws will overshadow our strengths. But when we avoid looking inward, we deny ourselves the opportunity for growth and healing. By facing yourself with an open heart, you allow a space for understanding, acceptance, and ultimately love. Accepting yourself means acknowledging that you are a work in progress. There is no perfect version of you waiting on the other side of some accomplishment or goal. Who you are right now is enough. It's important to realize that self-improvement and self-acceptance can exist together. You can desire growth and change while still loving and accepting the person you are in this moment. Self-love isn't about ignoring areas where you want to improve. It's about giving yourself the grace and compassion to grow without feeling like you're failing. One of the biggest obstacles to self-acceptance is the internal narrative we create about ourselves. The critical voice in our minds tells us we're not smart enough, attractive enough, or successful enough. It feeds on our insecurities and tries to convince us that we're less than we really are. But this voice is not the truth. It's simply a habit of thought that has been reinforced over time. The first step in embracing yourself completely is recognizing that this voice does not define you. You have the power to change your inner dialogue, to replace criticism with kindness and judgment with compassion. Learning to embrace yourself also means embracing your past. Each experience, no matter how painful or challenging, has contributed to the person you are today. Many people carry shame or regret for things that happened in the past, whether it's mistakes they made, things they wish they'd done differently, or situations they had no control over. But these experiences are part of your story. They've shaped your character, built your resilience, and taught you important lessons. Rather than hiding from your past or letting it define you negatively, you can choose to view it as a source of strength and wisdom. Flaws and imperfections are part of what makes you human, and embracing them is key to self-love. We all have things we wish we could change about ourselves, whether it's our appearance, our habits, or our personality traits. But instead of focusing on what you perceive is wrong with you, shift your perspective to see these aspects as part of the rich tapestry that makes you unique. Perfection is an illusion, and striving for it only leads to frustration and disappointment. When you accept your imperfections, you give yourself permission to be authentic and real. Embracing yourself also involves celebrating your strengths. Too often we downplay our talents and achievements because we're afraid of appearing arrogant or because we think they're not good enough. But you have unique gifts that no one else possesses, whether it's your creativity, your empathy, your ability to connect with others, or your resilience in the face of challenges. These qualities are worth celebrating. By recognizing and honoring your strengths, you boost your confidence and reinforce the belief that you are worthy of love and acceptance. A key part of embracing yourself is cultivating self-compassion. This means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a close friend. When you make a mistake, instead of beating yourself up, offer yourself forgiveness and encouragement. When you're going through a difficult time, allow yourself to feel your emotions without judgment, and remind yourself that it's okay to struggle. Self-compassion creates an inner environment of safety and support, which is essential for self-acceptance. Embracing yourself completely is a daily practice. It's about showing up for yourself with love and acceptance, even on the days when it feels hard. It's about making a conscious choice to see your worth, to silence the voice of self-doubt, and to allow yourself to be exactly who you are. When you embrace yourself fully, you open the door to deeper peace, greater joy, and the ability to love others more authentically. You deserve to love yourself as deeply as you love others because at your core you are already whole. Releasing self-criticism is one of the most transformative steps you can take on the journey towards self-love and inner peace. Self-criticism, that harsh inner voice that constantly finds fault, can become so ingrained that it feels like an unavoidable part of who you are. But it's not. It's a learned behavior often shaped by past experiences, expectations from society, or even the words of others that you've internalized. The good news is that just as you've learned to criticize yourself, you can also unlearn it. Letting go of self-criticism opens the door to a kinder, more compassionate relationship with yourself. Self-criticism often stems from the belief that you need to be perfect in order to be worthy of love, success, or happiness. This belief can make you hyper-aware of your perceived flaws and shortcomings, leading you to magnify every little mistake or imperfection. Over time, this pattern creates a negative loop. The more you criticize yourself, the worse you feel. And the worse you feel, the more you find to criticize. It's a cycle that drains your self-esteem and keeps you from reaching your full potential. One of the first steps in releasing self-criticism is to become aware of it. Many people aren't even conscious of how frequently they judge themselves. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. Notice how often you put yourself down, whether it's about your appearance, your abilities, or the decisions you make. The critical voice might say things like, "I'm not smart enough, I'll never be successful," or "I always mess things up." Once you start recognizing these negative thoughts, you can begin to challenge them. Challenging self-critical thoughts means questioning their validity. Are these thoughts really true? Often the answer is no. For example, if you tell yourself, "I always fail," you can look at your past and find plenty of times when you succeeded. The critical voice tends to be extreme and irrational, blowing things out of proportion. By gently questioning it, you begin to see that it's not an accurate reflection of reality. Another important aspect of releasing self-criticism is replacing it with self-compassion. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. When a friend makes a mistake or is going through a tough time, you wouldn't berate them or call them names. Instead, you would offer encouragement, empathy, and support. You deserve the same level of care. When you make a mistake or feel inadequate, instead of criticizing yourself, try saying something like, "It's okay to make mistakes. I'm doing the best I can," or "I'm learning and growing, and that's enough." Letting go of self-criticism also involves recognizing that being human means being imperfect. Perfectionism often goes hand in hand with self-criticism, driving you to hold yourself to unrealistic standards. But perfection is an illusion. No one is perfect, and striving for it only sets you up for failure and disappointment. When you accept your imperfections as part of your humanity, you free yourself from the constant pressure to measure up. You can allow yourself to make mistakes, to have flaws, and still be worthy of love and respect. One of the most profound shifts that comes with releasing self-criticism is learning to embrace vulnerability. Self-criticism is often a way of protecting yourself from feeling vulnerable. By being hard on yourself first, you try to shield yourself from the judgments of others. But this approach only isolates you and reinforces the belief that you're not enough. When you stop criticizing yourself, you open yourself up to the possibility of being vulnerable, of showing your true self, flaws and all. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a sign of strength and courage. It allows you to connect with others on a deeper level, creating more meaningful relationships and a greater sense of belonging. Another crucial element in releasing self-criticism is practicing self-acceptance. This means acknowledging who you are, where you are, and what you've been through without judgment. You don't have to like every part of yourself to accept it. Acceptance is about recognizing that you are a complex, evolving human being, and that's okay. When you accept yourself, you stop fighting against reality and begin to work with it. You can focus on growth and progress rather than dwelling on what you perceive as your failures. To release self-criticism, it's also helpful to cultivate gratitude for yourself. Take time to appreciate your strengths, your efforts, and the small victories you achieve each day. Gratitude shifts your focus away from what's lacking or imperfect and brings your attention to what's already good in your life. It reinforces the idea that you are enough, just as you are, and that you deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. Releasing self-criticism is not about becoming complacent or ignoring areas where you want to improve. It's about giving yourself the space and compassion to grow without the constant pressure of judgment. When you let go of self-criticism, you create an inner environment of peace and acceptance, where you can thrive and reach your full potential. The process of releasing self-criticism takes time and practice. It's not something that happens overnight, but with each small step, you'll begin to notice a shift. You'll feel lighter, more confident, and more at ease with yourself. And as you become kinder to yourself, you'll find that your relationships with others improve as well. Letting go of self-criticism is a powerful act of self-love, and it opens the door to a more joyful, fulfilling life. Speaking kindly to yourself is one of the most profound acts of self-love you can practice. The words you use when you think about yourself shape your self-image and directly influence your emotional well-being. Often we don't realize how harsh or critical we are toward ourselves because it has become such a normal part of our daily thoughts. However, when you begin to shift your inner dialogue from negativity to kindness, you open the door to healing, growth, and a much deeper sense of self-worth. Many people are their own worst critics. That inner voice can be relentless, constantly pointing out flaws, mistakes, and shortcomings. It tells you that you're not good enough, that you're failing, or that you don't deserve success or happiness. These negative thoughts may have started as a way to motivate or protect yourself, but in reality, they only serve to undermine your confidence and happiness. Over time, negative self-talk can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. It keeps you from taking risks, pursuing your dreams, and fully appreciating your own worth. To counter this, it's essential to become aware of your inner dialogue. Pay attention to the way you speak to yourself throughout the day, especially in moments of challenge or failure. Notice how quickly you criticize or judge yourself, and take note of the words you use. You may be surprised to find that you say things to yourself that you would never dream of saying to a loved one or a friend. Once you're aware of this pattern, you can start to change it. One of the first steps in speaking kindly to yourself is to challenge those negative thoughts. Just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it's true. For example, if you think, "I'm such a failure," ask yourself, is that really true? Chances are, it's not. You can also replace that thought with something more balanced and kind, such as, "I'm doing the best I can and I'm learning from my mistakes." This shift in thinking doesn't ignore challenges or mistakes, but it frames them in a more compassionate and productive way. Affirmations are another powerful tool to help you speak kindly to yourself. Affirmations are positive statements that reinforce your worth and potential. When you consistently repeat affirmations like, "I am worthy of love and respect," or "I trust in my ability to handle challenges," you begin to rewire your brain to think more positively about yourself. Over time, these affirmations become the new narrative in your mind, replacing the old patterns of self-criticism with messages of support and encouragement. Speaking kindly to yourself also means offering yourself forgiveness. We all make mistakes, have moments of weakness, or fall short of our goals. It's part of being human. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong or beating yourself up over past decisions, practice forgiveness. Tell yourself it's okay to make mistakes. I'm learning and growing. When you forgive yourself, you release the heavy burden of guilt and self-blame, allowing yourself to move forward with grace. Another way to speak kindly to yourself is to show appreciation for your efforts and accomplishments. We're often quick to celebrate others, but rarely take the time to acknowledge our own successes. Even the small victories like finishing a task, being kind to someone, or simply getting through a tough day deserve recognition. Celebrate these moments by telling yourself, I did a great job, or I'm proud of myself for handling that situation well. By acknowledging your strengths and achievements, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and worthy of praise. It's also important to speak kindly to yourself in moments of vulnerability. When you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or uncertain, it's easy to fall into a pattern of negative thinking. You might tell yourself, I can't handle this, or I'm not strong enough. Instead, try to offer yourself reassurance and comfort. Say things like, I'm doing my best, or it's okay to feel this way, and I'll get through it. By offering yourself kindness in difficult times, you build resilience and emotional strength. Speaking kindly to yourself is not about ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about creating a foundation of self-compassion that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease and self-respect. It's about recognizing that you are deserving of the same love and kindness that you so freely offer to others. When you change the way you speak to yourself, you change the way you see yourself, and that can have a profound impact on your overall well-being. Over time, as you consistently practice speaking kindly to yourself, you'll notice a shift in your mindset. You'll start to feel more confident, more capable, and more at peace with who you are. Your inner dialogue will become a source of support rather than a source of criticism, allowing you to move through life with greater self-assurance and joy. You deserve to be treated with kindness, and it starts with the words you say to yourself each and every day. Forgiving yourself for past mistakes is a crucial step in healing, personal growth, and moving forward with your life. We all make mistakes. Whether it's a decision we regret, words spoken in anger, or actions taken that hurt others or ourselves, these experiences can leave us with feelings of guilt, shame, or self-blame. While it's natural to reflect on the past, holding on to these negative emotions can prevent us from living fully in the present. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean erasing the past, rather it means acknowledging it, learning from it, and letting go of the weight that it carries. The first step towards self-forgiveness is acknowledging that you are human and that making mistakes is part of the human experience. Nobody goes through life without slipping up, and it's unrealistic to expect perfection from yourself. Mistakes are an inevitable part of life, and they are often opportunities for learning and growth. Instead of fixating on what you did wrong, it can be helpful to reframe the situation and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? By shifting your focus from self-blame to self-improvement, you can begin to see mistakes not as failures, but as important lessons. It's also essential to recognize that holding on to guilt and shame doesn't serve you. These emotions may feel justified, especially if your actions have hurt others, but they don't help anyone. In fact, guilt and shame can keep you trapped in a cycle of self-punishment, making it harder to move forward and make amends. Forgiveness is not about excusing what happened or ignoring the consequences of your actions. It's about acknowledging the pain, taking responsibility, and then releasing the emotional burden that comes with it. Forgiving yourself is a form of self-compassion, allowing you to heal and grow from your past. One of the most common barriers to self-forgiveness is the belief that you don't deserve it. You may think that because you made a mistake, you must continue to punish yourself in order to atone for it. However, this mindset only deepens the wound and prevents healing. Self-forgiveness doesn't mean you are absolving yourself of responsibility. It means you are accepting responsibility while also recognizing that you are more than your mistakes. You are a complex and evolving person, capable of growth and change. You deserve to treat yourself with kindness, just as you would offer forgiveness to someone else. Practicing self-forgiveness also involves letting go of perfectionism. Many people struggle with forgiving themselves because they hold themselves to impossibly high standards. They believe that they should never make mistakes or that they should have known better. But perfectionism is an unrealistic expectation that only leads to disappointment and self-criticism. By accepting that you are imperfect and that it's okay to make mistakes, you free yourself from the constant pressure to be flawless. Self-forgiveness allows you to be kinder to yourself, knowing that mistakes are a natural part of growth. Another important aspect of forgiving yourself is taking responsibility for your actions without dwelling on them. It's important to acknowledge the impact of your mistake, whether on yourself or others, and to make amends if necessary. This could mean offering an apology, repairing a relationship, or making a commitment to do better in the future. Taking responsibility shows that you are willing to learn from your mistake. But it also means giving yourself permission to let go of the guilt once you've done what you can to make things right. Holding on to guilt after you've taken responsibility only serves to keep you stuck in the past. A key part of self-forgiveness is changing the way you speak to yourself. Often the inner critic can be harsh and relentless, reminding you of your past mistakes and reinforcing feelings of shame. To counter this, it's important to practice self-compassion and replace negative self-talk with more supportive and kind words. Instead of saying, "I can't believe I did that," try saying, "I made a mistake, but I'm learning and growing." By treating yourself with the same understanding and compassion that you would offer a friend, you can create a more nurturing and healing inner environment. It's also helpful to remember that the past does not define you. While your actions are part of your story, they are not the whole story. You have the power to change, to make better decisions, and to create a brighter future. Holding on to past mistakes keeps you anchored in a place of regret, but forgiving yourself allows you to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. You are not the person you were when you made that mistake. You've learned, evolved, and grown since then. Self-forgiveness is an act of releasing the past and embracing the present moment. Finally, forgiving yourself is a process that takes time. It's not something that happens overnight, and it may require ongoing effort. Be patient with yourself as you work through the emotions and thoughts that come with self-forgiveness. Some days may be harder than others, but with consistent practice, you will find that the weight of guilt and shame starts to lift. As you release these burdens, you'll discover a greater sense of peace, freedom, and self-acceptance. In the end, forgiving yourself is an act of self-love. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of kindness and compassion, even in your imperfect moments. By letting go of the past and embracing the lessons it has taught you, you can move forward with a lighter heart and a clearer mind, ready to live fully and authentically. Celebrating your uniqueness is one of the most empowering steps you can take towards self-acceptance and self-love. Each person is a combination of traits, experiences, and qualities that create a singular, irreplaceable individual. Yet, in a world that often emphasizes conformity, it can be challenging to embrace the very things that make you different. Many people spend years trying to fit in, following societal expectations or other people's standards, rather than recognizing the beauty in what sets them apart. Celebrating your uniqueness means embracing every aspect of who you are, your strengths, quirks, talents, and even your imperfections. One of the first steps in celebrating your uniqueness is recognizing that being different is a strength, not a weakness. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that blending in is the safest or most desirable option. However, the qualities that make you different are often the same ones that give you the power to stand out and make a lasting impact. Whether it's a unique perspective, a talent that others don't have, or a personal story that has shaped who you are, these elements contribute to the richness of your life experience. By embracing them, you are stepping into your authenticity and allowing your true self to shine. Part of celebrating your uniqueness is letting go of the need for external validation. Society often imposes standards that make us feel we need to look a certain way, think a certain way, or behave in a specific manner to be accepted. However, chasing after approval from others can lead to a constant feeling of inadequacy because there will always be someone or something to compare yourself to. Instead of seeking validation from the outside world, look inward and realize that your worth is inherent. You don't need to meet anyone else's expectations to be valuable. The moment you stop measuring yourself against others and begin to honor your individuality, you'll find a deeper sense of fulfillment and peace. Another important aspect of celebrating your uniqueness is understanding that no one else has walked the same path as you. Your experiences, both positive and negative, have shaped you into the person you are today. Whether you've faced challenges, overcome obstacles, or achieved milestones, these moments have contributed to your personal growth and wisdom. While it's easy to compare yourself to others who seem to have had an easier or more successful journey, remember that your path is your own. There is strength in your story, and it's what makes you uniquely capable of offering something to the world that no one else can. It's also essential to appreciate the qualities that set you apart. Often people tend to focus on what they perceive as flaws or imperfections rather than the characteristics that make them special. Instead of dwelling on what you think is wrong with you, shift your focus to what makes you feel proud. Maybe you have a creative mind, a compassionate heart, or a strong sense of determination. Perhaps you have a unique sense of humor or a talent that comes naturally to you. Celebrating your uniqueness involves acknowledging these qualities and recognizing that they are part of what makes you exceptional. At the same time, it's important to remember that celebrating your uniqueness doesn't mean you have to be perfect. In fact, it's often our so-called imperfections that make us most relatable and human. Embracing your flaws and vulnerabilities is an integral part of accepting yourself fully. When you stop trying to hide or fix every perceived flaw, you allow yourself to show up authentically. This authenticity not only strengthens your relationship with yourself, but also deepens your connections with others. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, because it gives them permission to be authentic as well. Celebrating your uniqueness also involves giving yourself permission to pursue what makes you truly happy, even if it doesn't align with what others expect from you. Whether it's a career path, a hobby, or a lifestyle choice, following your passion is a way of honoring who you are. When you stop living for others and start living for yourself, you tap into a sense of joy and freedom that only comes from being true to yourself. By doing what feels right for you rather than what is expected, you create a life that is more aligned with your values and desires. It's also worth noting that celebrating your uniqueness doesn't have to be a solitary act. Surround yourself with people who appreciate and celebrate you for who you are. These are the people who encourage you to be your authentic self, who lift you up, and who appreciate the qualities that make you different. When you surround yourself with individuals who celebrate your uniqueness, you're reminded that being yourself is enough and that you don't have to change to fit anyone's mold. Finally, celebrating your uniqueness is an ongoing practice. It's about continuously choosing to love and accept yourself, even when faced with external pressures to conform. It's about reminding yourself that your differences are not liabilities, but assets. When you celebrate your uniqueness, you give yourself permission to live fully and authentically, and in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. Each day, as you honor your individuality, you move closer to living a life that is true to who you are and aligned with your highest potential. Nurturing yourself daily is an essential practice for maintaining your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. In a world that constantly demands your attention and energy, it's easy to forget to take care of yourself. Yet self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. By dedicating time and effort to nurturing yourself each day, you cultivate a deeper connection with yourself, reduce stress, and improve your overall quality of life. This act of self-love doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. It's about creating small, consistent habits that support your health and happiness. One of the most important aspects of nurturing yourself is acknowledging that you deserve care and attention. Many people prioritize the needs of others while neglecting their own, often because they feel guilty or unworthy of self-care. However, it's essential to recognize that taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup, and when you prioritize your well-being, you become better equipped to show up fully for others. By nurturing yourself daily, you create a foundation of strength, resilience, and inner peace that allows you to handle life's challenges with greater ease. Nurturing yourself begins with the basics of self-care, including nourishing your body with healthy food, staying hydrated, and getting enough rest. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life, and taking care of it is a fundamental act of self-love. Eating balanced meals, drinking plenty of water, and ensuring you get enough sleep are essential to feeling your best. When you're well rested and well nourished, you have more energy, mental clarity, and emotional stability to navigate your day. It's important to listen to your body's needs and give it the care and attention it deserves. Another way to nurture yourself daily is by engaging in activities that bring you joy and relaxation. Life can be busy and stressful, and it's easy to get caught up in a cycle of productivity and responsibility. However, carving out time for activities that make you happy is crucial for your mental and emotional well-being. Whether it's reading a book, going for a walk in nature, practicing a hobby, or simply spending time with loved ones, doing something you enjoy every day helps to recharge your spirit. These moments of joy remind you that life is not just about working and achieving, it's also about savoring the simple pleasures. Mindfulness is another powerful tool for nurturing yourself daily. Being mindful means being present in the moment, fully aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you create a sense of calm and clarity that allows you to respond to life's challenges with greater resilience. You can incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine in small but meaningful ways. For example, you can take a few minutes each morning to meditate, practice deep breathing, or simply sit in silence and reflect. These moments of stillness help you to center yourself, reduce stress, and approach the day with a clear and focused mind. Emotional self-care is another critical aspect of nurturing yourself. This involves acknowledging your feelings and giving yourself permission to experience them without judgment. It's easy to suppress or ignore emotions, especially when they're uncomfortable, but doing so can lead to emotional burnout. Instead, take time each day to check in with yourself emotionally. Ask yourself how you're feeling and why. If you're feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, offer yourself compassion and kindness. Journaling, talking to a friend, or practicing self-compassion exercises can help you process and release these emotions in a healthy way. By nurturing your emotional well-being, you create space for healing and growth. Another important part of nurturing yourself is setting boundaries. Boundaries are essential for protecting your time, energy, and mental health. It's easy to overextend yourself, especially when you feel obligated to meet the expectations of others. However, learning to say no and setting limits on what you're willing to take on is a form of self-care. Boundaries allow you to create a healthy balance between caring for others and caring for yourself. By honoring your own needs and limits, you ensure that you're not constantly running on empty, which is crucial for maintaining your well-being. Gratitude is also a powerful practice that can help nurture your sense of fulfillment and happiness. Taking time each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for shifts your focus away from what's lacking or stressful in your life and toward the abundance and beauty that already exists. This practice doesn't have to be complicated. You can start by writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day, or simply taking a few moments to reflect on what's going well in your life. Gratitude helps to nurture a positive mindset and reminds you of the goodness that surrounds you, even in challenging times. Finally, nurturing yourself daily means showing yourself kindness and compassion. Life can be difficult, and it's easy to be hard on yourself when things don't go as planned. However, treating yourself with kindness, especially during tough times, is one of the most important ways to nurture your soul. Remind yourself that you're doing your best and that it's okay to have setbacks or make mistakes. Offer yourself the same grace and understanding that you would offer a friend. When you practice self-compassion, you create a sense of inner safety and security that allows you to face life's difficulties with greater resilience. Nurturing yourself daily is a practice that requires consistency and commitment, but the benefits are profound. When you make self-care a priority, you create a life that is more balanced, joyful, and fulfilling. You learn to value yourself not just for what you do, but for who you are. And in doing so, you cultivate a deeper sense of peace, happiness, and self-love that enriches every aspect of your life.